Hello and a warm welcome. You tune in to Market Fatafat. I'm Ankita Saxena and with me is Ashish Advaryu. In the next half an hour, we'll talk about all the stocks that are in focus on the back of news flow and the back of technicals. But before we get to all the stocks, let's talk about a stock that is in focus on the back of joint venture TVS Supply Chain that has entered into a JV with the ALA Group. Now, under this, they are going to enter India's aerospace and defense supply chain market. In fact, TVS is likely to hold 51% and ALA Group will hold 49% in the newly formed JV, and they're targeting a revenue of 2,000 crores plus or thereabouts by 2031. To weigh in more on this JV, let's get on board Dinesh, who's the Executive Chairman, TVS Supply Chain Solutions, and Vikas Chadha, who's the Global Chief Executive Officer, TVS Supply Chain Solutions. Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us. Gentlemen, Dinesh, let me come to you first for this one. You have signed a JV with the ALA Group for defense and aerospace for complete logistics solution. Can you throw some light for our viewers on this new development and the opportunity it represents?
I think as far as we are concerned, we have been present in the defense space, especially in our UK businesses. But in India, we had been closely looking at the growth in the market, and we believe that the aerospace and the defense sector presents a unique opportunity for us. So therefore, we looked at what are the opportunities which we can seize, and we realized that there is a significant compliance and certification requirements, and we also need to have deep customer relationships. So the joint venture with ALA is structured as that ALA will give us those access to the customers and also the quick certification feasibility, and we will make sure that we deliver that capability at the ground level in India with all the global customers and also the Indian partners of those global customers who are working on setting up manufacturing and also the spare parts distribution which is required.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Ashesha this side, and Vikas, let me come to you then. TVS SCS is investing about 10 crore into this joint venture, targeting about 2,000 crores in revenue by 2031. What gives you this kind of confidence from such a small initial outlay of investment?
First of all, the initial investment that we are talking about is just to kickstart the joint venture. And remember, this is a supply chain industry, and we always have maintained a very asset-light model. So the initial phase of the investment will only go into hiring and setting up the programs for our customers. And as the requirements shape up and as we enter into long-term programs, there'll be definitely more investment which will flow into the joint venture. As far as the confidence is concerned, look, this is a very regulated market. Our initial discussions that we have had with the customers after the signing of the MOU have been fantastic. They're all waiting for us to get the products. Overall, this particular industry is a high-margin industry, so definitely we expect quite easily we should be achieving 2,000 crores in 5 years in terms of the revenue.
Dinesh, Adani, L&T and Mahindra, big names are already chasing India's defense opportunity. What makes this JV's proposition genuinely differentiated?
If you look at it, that's one of the reasons why we are actually having this joint venture, if I can say that, because this really opens up the market that such good names are there. And we actually will become service provider to these people because they are the ones who are setting up the manufacturing, they are the ones who are setting up the assembly lines. And our solution is to be able to give the best possible, I would call it, I don't want to call it as low cost, but the best possible solution for the assembly lines they are setting up here. So for us, they are actually the reason why we are having this joint venture with ALA. And as I mentioned, they also, whether it be manufacturing or for the spare parts supply post that, they will also be looking at partners with whom they will work with. And that's the reason why we believe that this is the perfect time for us to enter and partner with all these names, the big names which you mentioned.
And if I may just add a little bit to that, look, the big companies that you named, their focus is completely going to be on manufacturing setup. And the logistics to supply the parts to the manufacturing lines has a lot of requirements around traceability, IT systems, and just-in-time delivery, etc. We want these customers to focus on their production, and our job will be to ensure that the manufacturing line is always running and we have the parts well traced, well tracked, and available for them as the requirement may be. So our job will be to stand behind them and make them successful as we go along.
And Mr. Chadha, you've also committed to profitability within the next 12 months. That's a bold claim for a greenfield venture in a heavily regulated sector, isn't it? What's the revenue visibility looking like at this point in time?
So I will start by saying that this sector is a very nascent sector at this particular moment. I mean, the sector is not nascent, but the localization, manufacturing, India part is still in a very nascent stage. And as all these big companies are investing and starting their discussion with the large big OEMs, we have found a lot of traction while talking to them. And of course, ALA has been in this industry for 35 years, and we know that their profitability has been quite high. It is very common in this industry to have almost double-digit PBT after you have established yourself. So we don't envisage too much of cost in the initial 1 year, because we will be leveraging a lot on the infrastructure that we have in TVS, and also a lot on the credibility and the OEM relations and the certification process that ALA has. So initial phase, not too much of a cost, and hence we definitely believe that it will be profitable within the 12-month period. As we scale, as we get new programs, large programs, we will have more investment, and that will really set the JV in the right motion.
And finally, Dinesh, the aerospace and defense is known for long gestation periods and bureaucratic hurdles. What's your plan B if the government ordering cycles don't move fast enough?
Very good question, but I think the fundamental way we are looking at it right now is that there is a significant momentum, not just from a defense side of this, but also on the civilian side as well. So this joint venture is not just addressing only the defense sector. We'll be working very closely on the civilian side as well. And don't forget that there is a current huge order book which has been set, and that's the basis on which this manufacturing is taking place in India. While initially there is significant interest on supporting the manufacturing, we also have the solutions available for supporting the aftermarket requirements, the service requirements of all these installed capacity, both from the planes which are in commercial use and also in defense use. Finally, we also are looking at making sure that we can help the Indian component manufacturers also become part of the global supply chain. And that's something which we will work with ALA. So there are three opportunities which I think we see here. And that's why we are fairly confident that we don't see, I would call it, significant risk in being able to scale this up. The regulatory side and the certification, as Vikas already mentioned, is something we will depend on ALA for help, and that discussions are already well underway. So we believe that we should be operational very soon, within the next 3-4 months.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here in ET Now and taking us through the developments and the outlook for FY27. But shifting focus then, and here's a quick programming update for all our viewers. ET Now Market Summit 2026 brings together the biggest names from regulation, markets, mutual funds and wealth management. From SEBI chairperson Tuhin Kanta Pandey's keynote to marquee investors like Sunil Singhania, Sandeep Tandon, Ridham Desai and Vijay Kedia, the summit will decode the next phase of India's market journey. The event will also feature leaders from LIC, HSBC Mutual Fund, MCX, PhonePe and Kotak Mutual Fund, covering themes from market outlook and wealth creation to commodities, flows and market risks. Tune in to ET Now on the 12th of June from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.